Budget. Hello, today we are going to talk about preparing a budget plan. Everybody needs a budget plan nowadays. It's almost mandatory for any financial purchase. It's important for moving out, for determining how we're going to pay our student loans. Everybody needs some sort of a budget, in my opinion. So today we're going to talk about how to efficiently prepare one. Before we go into preparing them, we need to stress why it is important. Preparing a budget can help us determine if we are ready to purchase a home, if we are ready to have our first child, how we are going to be able to ensure that we can pay our student loan payments. It's critical for just about everything we do. I personally prepare my budget during tax time. I like to draw out an entire budget for the whole incoming year. That way I can determine if I can make the purchases I want to make that year. Then every single month I continuously look at my budget and tweak it depending on how my bills have changed. So let's say my electric bill went up $20 a month. I'll have to go in and add that $20 and then look and see if that's affordable. If it's not affordable, I may need to decrease my savings account or decrease some of my leisure funds. Also, if your car breaks down and you need to make a new car purchase, with your budget you can look in there and see what that you can remove and what you are spending too much on to determine if we are able to make that new car purchase. We also can, if you are looking to have a child, you can also use your budget to determine what kind of daycare you can afford. You can also use it to determine what kind of schooling that they may go through. Are you going to put them through a private school or public school? Budgets can help us make all these decisions easier. Okay, so let's get started. I want everybody to grab a paper and pencil or grab your laptop and pull up Excel or Word, whatever works best for you, because we are going to all prepare our own budgets. Step 1 is income. This is any money you have coming into your household after taxes, because we are working on an after-tax basis right now. We are looking at how much you get paid after taxes. We are looking at any child support money you may have coming in, any rental income if you rent houses, what kind of a profit you make on that, dividend checks. We want to ensure that you do not include bonus money in this, because we never want to rely on bonus money because it's not something that's guaranteed. Also, if you are a commission-based employee, you want to make sure that you use your base pay on your budget, because you never want to guarantee, or you never want to live on something that you might not get and you might risk missing a payment in 1 month. So, for my example, I use $3,500. This is going to be mine and my spouse's income. We don't have any rental properties. We don't have any dividends coming in. This is just a good solid base number for us to start out at, for me to use my example on. So moving forward, if everybody's got their budget income written down. Housing. Housing is a very big part of our budgets. I'm going to use $800 on mine for my house payment. If you live on campus and you pay so much money each month for housing, write that down. If you live with your parents and your parents charge you $100 a week, let's go ahead and put $400 down for housing. If you own your own home, what's your house payment? If you rent, what's your rental payment? So everybody take a moment to determine what their housing payment is and write that down. Okay, so this is my sample that I used. I have income of $3,500. My housing is $800. So left, I'm working with about $2,700 for my budget. So everybody's budget should look something like this to start off with. Step 3, our mandatory bills. Examples of mandatory bills are our electric, our water, our garbage services, our car payments, our existing credit card payments, because sometimes that happens where we get caught up in credit cards. We want to make sure those are a primary thing we pay each month. Loans, if you have any other loans, such as debt consolidation, car loans, equity lines, things such as that. Child support payments, homeowner dues, food and gas. We want to make sure food and gas are in our mandatory bills, because that is something that we need for survival. We need to get to work, we need to get to school, we need to eat. So, with that being said, I know some of our garbage services are on a quarterly basis. Some figure out about how much each month that is. My garbage services is $55 every 3 months. So on my budget, I'm just going to round it up to a solid $20 or $25. Because sometimes I use leaf removal, and I sometimes have a major appliance or something to set out. So I always budget a little bit extra in case I need that. Food and gas require a little bit of budgeting on their own. So you must first determine how much gas you use on a monthly basis. We got to break it down to weekly first. I use about 1.5 tanks, and my husband uses about 1 tank a week. So I use 6 tanks a month. On average, it's $45 a tank, so I'm looking around $270 for my gas. My husband uses 4 tanks a month, using around $70 each time he fills up, so he's around $280. So we're going to make my gas budget at $550 per month. We live on about $150 worth of food each week, so food costs around $600 a month. So figuring all that up, my food and gas alone are $1,150 a month. So let's all take a little bit of time to determine what our mandatory bills are and write them down. So food and gas, like I said, you need to determine how much money per month you use in gas, how much money in groceries you need. Also in this section, if you have a child in diapers, we want to look at diapers being a food and gas expense because that is groceries, wipes, cleaning supplies, stuff like that that is critical that you need on a monthly basis. Daycare, my daycare is $500 a month. Garbage, like I said, I factor $25 a month because I never know how much it's going to be exactly. It's typically $55 every 3 months, but sometimes I get additional services, so you would rather over budget than under budget. Electric, $125 a month. I have my electric services set up to where they are the same each month, and then every year it resettles. So right now, my electric company is charging me $125 a month for the entire year. Next year it could be more or it could be less depending on how much I owe or my credits. My car payment is $190 a month. And water's typically $100 every 2 months, so I factor $50 there. Total left after all of my secondary bills are $660. Oh, I'm sorry, my mandatory bills is left is $660. So everybody take a couple minutes to think about food and gas, if they have daycare, garbage, electric, water, credit cards. Let's write all that down. Okay, I think we're just about finished. So let's move on to our secondary bills. I'm sorry, this was mandatory, now we're moving on to secondary bills. Examples of secondary bills are church, TV, internet, life insurance, cell phone, savings, different things such as that. These are my secondary bills. Church is important to us, TV obviously, internet, life insurance, cell phone, and savings. They are important, but they are not necessary for us to survive. So these are in a separate category themselves because these are the bills that say something happens and we need to get a new transmission. These are the bills that we would look at to see how we could alter them to be able to afford a new transmission or a new car payment or the birth of a new child. Secondary bills are ones that can be altered in case of emergency or in case something comes up in our lives. So let's look at my sample budget. Church, I try to give about $20 a week. Yeah, I'm a little bit cheap with church. I'm working on that. TV and internet is $100 a month. Life insurance, $35 a month. Cell phone for mine and my husband's, $100 a month. And savings, we try to put $75 each payday. We get paid twice. He gets paid twice a month, so $150. So let's think about all of our secondary bills and see what happens. See what we write down. Now while you're thinking about this, the reason I said we always want to put this on an Excel sheet, because that way it's easier for us to adjust these bills if we need to. Something happens and our LG&E, or I'm sorry, our electric bill goes up $50, then we could take a look at these and alter one $50 real quick so we can make sure that our mandatory bills are covered. So, after everything's said and done, that leaves me $195 left on spending. That is not a lot of money. I have a 2-year-old child. That leaves a little less than $25 a week. That is not something that is achievable in my opinion. So if this were my real case, I would probably go back and look at some of my secondary bills. Do I really need $100 worth of TV and internet? Do I really need $100 worth of a cell phone bill each month? If I have a 2-year-old, there's going to be doctor bills that come up. There's going to be sick days where I have to go buy the medicine. I want to keep him having books and different materials to learn and grow with. So $195 a month for a family with children is not preparing an efficient budget. Now, if you are a college student living on your own, maybe if you only go out once a month, can you afford to live on the $195 spending. That also includes trips to restaurants, anything outside of your bills, $195 a month. So I would say that my budget is no good for me, but this is just an example that we're using. I broke everything down, once again, just to be able to see it. This is normally what I would have on my Excel sheet, and that way I would have it automatically totaled to where I could make adjustments here and have it easily totaled to try to get my total left a little bit higher. Having a child, I like to have around $75 a week. So that's about $300 that I need down here as my total left. So I would have to do some major reconsidering on these secondary sections, or maybe I could find a carpool to work and adjust it there in the gas section. I could maybe look for a cheaper daycare, but that might not be so wise because I don't want to risk him being risking his education. I could downsize my cell phone. I could cancel my TV for a little bit and just use the basic antenna TV. Any one of these can be altered just to try to get my total spending at a higher balance, because our goal is to have our higher balance down here. Now let's say we get a raise, a $500 raise, then we could reevaluate all of this and see if we can afford maybe a car payment, a vacation, things such as that. But this is just a real cut and dry, plain example of how to prepare a sample budget. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, well, I thank you guys for joining me. I hope that we learned something today, and I really hope that all of you will take this into consideration and prepare one, because this is something that working in the financial industry, I see too many people overlook this, and it hurts so many people, and it ends up affecting their credit, it ends up affecting their housing situations, end up having cars repossessed over something simple as not preparing a budget. So this is very, very critical for everybody nowadays, and I really hope that you all learned something today. So thank you for taking the time to prepare a budget with me, and everybody have a wonderful afternoon.